Hello and welcome back to Crosstown Bits and Bites. Today we're featuring Chaplin and the Eglinton Way. Chaplin Crescent intersects Eglinton just east of Bathurst and is part of my car commute to work. I lived in Midtown for my first 20 years in Toronto too, so this should be very familiar territory, but truth is this is the first time I've walked the Eglinton Way between Chaplin and Avenue Road, and I did so on a dark and drizzly Thursday in early April. I left my car on Duncannon and walked east to Avenue Road. Because it was noon on a weekday, I expected to see the Crosstown station buzzing with people. But no, like the others I visited, this one was pretty deserted. I descended to track level to see if that's where the people were, but found little action. I exited on to Eglinton and walked westward. Adjacent to the station is the open during construction sign covering the front of Yitz's Deli, the one I've seen many times in the last 15 years. I thought it might be fun to have lunch there because its proximity to the station might provide some real insight into what the construction process had felt like and the relief of it being over. But despite the sign, after 47 years of operation, Yitz's shuttered in 2019. Too bad. I'd looked forward to a deli sandwich. I kept moving westward past the Eglinton Theatre. The last time I was there was for a sing-along Sound of Music screening in the late 90s. Even after it closed as a cinema in 2003, it has stayed a fixture on the street, a stunning example of Art Deco theater design dating back to 1936. That design is the inspiration for the Eglinton Way banners that hang from the lampposts. The theater now operates as an event space. The legal geek in me knows this was one of the cinemas ordered to renovate its space for being wheelchair inaccessible in a 2001 landmark human rights case. Probably not something for which it would like to be known. Further west, I found upscale clothing and furniture stores, yoga studios, vets, restaurants, and medical clinics. This is a vibrant community that didn't appear to suffer much during the long construction project that devastated the economies of so many other parts of Eglinton, other than Yitz's maybe. By now I was getting peckish, so instead of checking at the stores, I surveyed the Japanese and Italian lunch options, finally settling on my original instinct to eat something traditionally Jewish, reflecting the character of Forest Hill, the community just south. With multiple Toronto locations and a reputation dating back to 1999, the Bagel House lured me in with the promise of a fresh Montreal-style bagel. I entered to find all 5 tables filled, leaving only the counter looking onto the street, perfect for watching the outside community, but leaving me a bit isolated for clientele watching. I took a peek, though, at my fellow diners, a few couples and a family, all locals, I guessed. I ordered chopped chicken liver, onion, and lettuce on an everything bagel with a mediocre drip coffee. I was a little disappointed there were no plates or china cups. I guess it's really intended as a takeout joint. The chicken liver was excellent, though, although the everything bagel may not have been the best choice. Caraway seeds, which aren't my favorite, overpowered the liver. That said, the bagels are excellent, and I took 3 poppy and 3 sesame home with me. From my window perch, I watched pedestrians passing, clutching pristine Summerhill Market bags. Yes, this is a neighborhood with folks who can shop at the Summerhill Market, Toronto's toniest chain, and who do not carry reusable grocery bags to the store. Fortified by lunch, I continued along the north side of Eglinton, past pricier restaurants I could imagine one day trying. Not today, though. I descended the hill to Chaplin Station. It's a very well-served stop with 3 entrances and a bicycle lockup. Not a lot of people through it, though. After a stroll through the main station lobby, I crossed Eglinton to make my way back on the other side. Beside the ambulance station on the corner is a building I'd never noticed before, 641 Eglinton West. Built as a fire hall in the 1930s, the city replaced it with a new one around the corner on Chaplin to accommodate the crosstown construction. Metrolinx, the much maligned construction managers of the Crosstown, used the old building as an office, but now, despite it being a beautiful old structure in a great location, it's boarded up. What a shame, I thought. I continued past some well-kept low-rise apartments and then back into a commercial strip. I landed at Mad Bean Cafe. Opened in 2010 by a couple and their son, this is the kind of coffee shop every neighborhood deserves. My previous coffee had disappointed, so I ordered a latte, decaf, with a cheddar herb scone, and yes, heated with butter would be lovely. The cafe oozed neighborhood charm with its comfy chairs, people on computers, colleagues discussing work, and retirees hanging out, one of whom complimented me on my glasses. I guess I can pass for a Forest Hill retiree if I need to. I pulled my MacBook out, and after I made a few notes about the day, I Googled 641 Eglinton. In March, City Council discussed a plan to turn the old fire hall into a firefighter's burn victim care center. What a great idea. And a great entree into a conversation with the cafe owner, too. Interestingly, while he knew the building well, he hadn't heard about this plan. When I asked what impact the Crosstown opening had on his business, he noted that because he'd lost the bus stop across the street, if anything, his business was down a smidge. And he noted he'd been lucky during construction. Because his location is at an intersection, the street hadn't been dug up outside his door. Although he lives in the neighborhood, he'd taken the Crosstown only once, and then just the 2 stops to Yonge Street. I told my new Mad Bean friend I'd never walked this strip of Eglinton before, and he laughed and said, unless you want your nails done, likely no need. And then he recommended going to the House of Chan, Eglinton's 50-year-old steakhouse and Chinese restaurant, but not for a steak. Too costly, I gather. Just for a martini and the atmosphere. Good tip. He didn't mention it, but Torontonians will remember Chan was once further west on Eglinton. A decade ago during construction, that former Chan building was a casualty of the process when it collapsed, injuring 7 people and temporarily halting the work. It's the only record I can find of an incident like this during the 15-year birth of the Crosstown. Of all the communities I'll be visiting, I predict this is the one with its tasteful street sculpture and upscale shopping that will be the least transformed by the addition of transit, partly because it's already served by the Yonge subway line just a few blocks east, partly because this is not a transit-using demographic, and partly because it's hard to imagine this community being disrupted by the kind of large-scale high-rise development proposed further east near Laird, or the purpose-built rental in process at Fairbank. With 2 Crosstown stops in their community, though, it will bring people to them. If you make the trip, go to Mad Bean. You'll like it. Thanks for watching.